Good day, everyone. Welcome to Just Omer. My name is Omer C. Ahern Jr., and I am the Grafton County Commissioner from District 3 here in Grafton County, New Hampshire. And some of the towns that I serve in District 3, which basically encompasses the eastern and southern part of Grafton County, includes the town of Plymouth, Hebron, Holderness, Wentworth, Bristol, Alexandria, and up to Warren and Dorchester and Groton. So I'm one of 3 county commissioners, and I serve with County Commissioner Wendy Piper, who is the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners. She's from District 1. She serves the towns of Hanover and Enfield and the city of Lebanon. And then we also serve with Commissioner Linda Lauer. She's the commissioner from District 2, and she serves all the rest of the towns in Grafton County, which basically encompass the western and northern parts of Grafton County. And ultimately, we are responsible for the operations of the Grafton County Nursing Home, Farm, and the Department of Corrections, which are all located up in North Haverhill, New Hampshire. And there's a 750-plus acre complex up there. 25 acres of it encompass the nursing home, the Department of Corrections building, the county courthouse, and the nursing home and the farm buildings. The rest of the property is used for vegetable production, hay, corn, and we have a pretty significant timber stand up there. And in fact, we're probably going to be doing a timber cut coming up later this year. And the commissioners are responsible for the operations of by statute. And I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit here because I haven't done a report now since, I guess, the middle of September. I had some challenges over the last couple months, and I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And I want to thank the folks at the PBTV for allowing me to take a little bit of time off. Also, one other group that I really want to recognize here this morning before I get going too far is today is November 12th. Yesterday was November 11th, Veterans Day. And I just want to give a hearty thank you to all of our veterans out there all over New Hampshire and beyond, and thank them for their selfless service to the people of the Republic of the United States of America, and also thank their families because their families go through a lot as well when their loved ones are overseas and out on duty. So thank you, veterans of the United States military and their families. God bless you all. Okay, this week the Grafton County Commissioners met on Monday, November 8th, and of course we always start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. And the first item on the agenda was the County Attorney, Marcy Hornick. She's an elected official, and her offices, most of her offices are up at the county complex, some in the county courthouse and some in the county administration building. Plus, she has some of her assistant county attorneys out in different towns providing criminal prosecution services for different towns and communities under contract. And she was talking about and asking for the commissioner's approval of a contract to hire and to fill a position for an assistant prosecutor in one of our communities because the present prosecutor is retiring and going to be going to work for another legal operation. Um, the next item on the agenda was Grant Nelson, the county farm manager, and he gives us a written report every month when he comes in to make his report. And in my mind, the county farm is an integral part of the county operations. When county government started serving back in the 1870s, when the first county homes were set up after the town, poor farms were being discontinued all over the place, and the county farms, county homes, county nursing homes were set up. There was a nursing home component. Was also the house of correction component, and then the dairy operations, the farm operations were there to feed the people in the house of correction, to feed the people in the nursing home, and to feed the employees. And also back then they had what they called county charges. And county charges were people that could not make it out in the communities. And the only way that people could be safely taken care of, if their families couldn't take care of them and if the churches in their communities couldn't take care of them, was the counties. And over the years the counties have had facilities to take care of these people, the county charges. But when these folks came to stay at the county farm, they were essentially required to work. And they might work in the kitchen, they might work out in the barns, they would work in the gardens, they could work in housekeeping, and they were provided a warm, safe place to stay, to sleep at night. They were provided with their meals, and then some. And then they were also provided with a certain amount of medical care if they needed it, for diabetes or for anything like that. So what we're doing at Grafton County, we're continuing that wonderful service that has been, a hallmark of county government in New Hampshire since the 1870s. And so what Grant Nelson, the farm manager, does is a very integral part of what's still going on up at Grafton County. Grafton County is the last county in the state of New Hampshire, there are 10 counties in New Hampshire, to still have an active dairy operation. And so in Grant's report of November 2021, he reported that the farm is milking 71 cows, averaging 77 pounds of milk per cow. Now, this milk is sold to Agrimark, wholesale market, and Agrimark is very, very pleased to be able to purchase our Grafton County milk because of the quality of the milk that we are producing there. And we receive about $18.45 per hundredweight for that milk that we sell to Agrimark. One of the issues that the farm is really having a hard time with right now is the inmate labor. We rely, as the county farms have been relying on since they were first started back in the 1870s, on inmate labor, inmates at the Department of Corrections. And because of the lockdowns or the closings of the courts due to the COVID pandemic, the change in the bail laws, bail reform, the inmate labor at Grafton County has been very, very low. In fact, at the time this report was presented to the commissioners on Monday, there was only one inmate at the House of Correction that was able to be out on the farm. And this fellow works in the dairy barn, helping to milk cows, helping to feed the cows. And but that creates a real significant labor problem for the operation of the county farm. An important part of a dairy operation is that the cows have calves, and so 11 cows and 3 heifers are due to calve this month, and that is to have a baby cow. and then that allows the mother cow to, if you're dairy farmers, I'm repeating things that you already know, but for those of you that are kind of not too familiar with dairy cow operations, in order for a dairy cow to give milk, it has to give birth to a calf. Big part of what the county farm does is it provides fertilizer through from the dairy cows, and that fertilizer is put out onto our fields for growing the corn and the vegetables and all of the other things that we grow in order to feed the inmates and to provide some food for those in the nursing home. That manure pit is empty right now, but over the winter it will be refilled. The potatoes are all harvested, have a great potato crop this year, and the winter squash is all harvested, and I believe there's still potatoes and winter squash that can be purchased from the county operations up there in North Haverhill. With any farming operation, modern farming operation, there's equipment, tractors and plows and harrows and planting machines, and when you're feeding the cows, there's what they call the mixer wagons that mix up the grains that are fed out to the cows. So we have some equipment that needs to be repaired, and again, there's some money that's involved there. The Farm Doc program that I've discussed before, the Farm Department of Corrections program, which is designed to basically really provide food to the Department of Corrections and more food to the nursing home. The challenge is the myriad of federal rules and regulations out there. The United States Department of Agriculture has its requirements for processing of meat, and the state of New Hampshire does have a law that allows the New Hampshire Department of Agriculture to actually provide meat inspection programs for the processing of cows and pigs. And so there is some legislation that is going into the legislature to be considered after the 1st of January. It's already been submitted. I think it had to be all submitted by the middle of September. And hopefully there can be some modifications to the laws in the state of New Hampshire to allow Grafton County to process its own dairy cows on site for the purpose of feeding the beef and the pork to the residents, the inmates at the House of Correction. None of this meat would be sold out to the public. None of this would be sold, and so there's no concerns with that being sold. It would be consumed on the complex, and this is something that I'm trying to work with some of our county delegation on as we go forward. And again, this is all part of the Farm Doc program that has been approved by all 3 county commissioners back in, I think, either late February or early March of this year. So the farm manager says that he is ready to supply beef under the Farm Doc program, and I appreciate Grant Nelson's willingness to work with us on that. One of the challenges we had this year with the Farm Doc program was because of the labor shortage in the House of Correction, there just was not enough help to plant the vegetable fields with the types of vegetables that we plant over the years: carrots, beets, rutabagas, summer squash, zucchinis, tomatoes, peppers. Just didn't have all of those things. String beans. None of those things were planted on the farm this year because it just was no one to work to help plant, to do the weeding, and to do the harvesting. All we planted this year was the potatoes, the winter squash, and the sweet corn, because that's pretty much all mechanized. The next thing that happened was the superintendent of the Department of Corrections then joined the discussion because they wanted to share with us what they were doing to implement the Farm Doc program. And one of the statistics that Superintendent Tom Elliott, a veteran, I want to thank Tom for his service in the Marines, it was that they have determined that if we start processing our own dairy cows up there, that the Department of Corrections can store in its freezers up to 15 processed cows, and that's quite a good fact to know as we go forward in trying to make sure that we have the ability, the sustainability to feed the residents there in the Department of Corrections, so that we're not depending upon the supply chain. This is one of the issues that we as commissioners have to deal with. We have people that are at the county complex 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we have to make sure that we have the ability to feed and take care of those folks. And the one thing that everybody in the world has in common is we all have to eat, and we got to be able to provide that food for those folks. So that's what we're working on there. So we appreciate that work. The next person that came in was the Register of Deeds, Kelly Monahan, and she gave us her monthly report. And again, the Registry of Deeds is doing a fantastic job of bringing revenue into the county. In fact, the Registry of Deeds is the only department at in Grafton County that actually brings in a positive cash flow. And so there's a lot of money that comes in. The money is coming in essentially from recording fees and a portion of the transfer stamps that are paid to the state of New Hampshire anytime there is a sale of property, real estate here in the state of New Hampshire. And the Registry of Deeds by counties keep a written record of every real estate transaction, sale of the land, easements, mortgages, satisfaction of mortgages and liens, and things like that. So every time there's a document that's recorded, there's a recording fee. And again, most of the time, whenever real estate changes hands, and a lot of real estate has changed hands in New Hampshire over the last 18 months. And if you're a seller, this is a good time to be selling real estate. And there are buyers out there. There are buyers from, that have bought from California, New Jersey, New York, wanting to buy property here in New Hampshire. So we appreciate the work that Kelly Monahan, the Registry of Deeds, does, and she has a very dedicated staff there at the Registry of Deeds. Okay, then we had Renee DiPaolo from the Alternative Sentencing Program come in. The Alternative Sentencing Program works a lot with juveniles and those that come into contact with the criminal law. They may not necessarily be sentenced to jail or to prison, but they may have to be under monitored, and that's what the Alternative Sentencing Program does. And Renee DiPaolo came in and was asking for the approval of the commissioners to hire a case manager to support the mental health court operations of our alternative sentencing program. As you probably heard on the news, and we're seeing at Grafton County, concerns about mental health have really risen since the pandemic and the lockdown and all these other things that have gone on. So there was an opening for a mental health coordinator, and Renee needed to fill that position. And so she presented us with a written memo and with a proposed motion, and the motion was made, seconded, and it was approved by the county commissioners 3-0 to fill that mental health court coordinator position. And again, we thank the work that Renee does, because she works a lot with juveniles and with those that are in trouble with the law, and if she can help and her staff people can help to keep these people from getting in trouble with the law again, that certainly is good for society as a whole. The last item that we had on the agenda was Craig Labor, who is our nursing home administrator. And Craig does an amazing job, especially over these last, since things started going downhill with the COVID situation in 2019. He and his staff at the nursing home have done a fantastic job, and all I can say is I thank them profusely. There has been there was one death early on at the nursing home in early April of 2020, but since that time there has not been a single case of COVID in our nursing home resident population. And again, that is, in my mind, entirely due to the hard work, the caring work of Craig Labor, the nursing home administrator, and his entire medical nursing staff and the housekeeping staff. Housekeeping is very, very important, of course, in a nursing home setting. And however, Mr. Labor had to come in and talk with us because of recent federal mandates that have come down with regard to employees, not only in the private sector, but employees in the nursing medical sectors. And he presented to the commissioners a policy for their approval, and this policy is entitled Mandatory COVID-19 Vaccination Policy. And the purpose of that policy, and I'm going to read it right from the proposed policy document. The purpose is to remain in compliance with the CMS. CMS stands for it deals with Medicaid, Medicare funding services. The CMS Omnibus COVID-19 Healthcare Staff Vaccination Interim Field Rule, and to protect the health and safety of Grafton County nursing home employees and residents. This policy is intended to safeguard the health and well-being of our employees and their families, our residents and their visitors, and the entire Grafton County community. This policy complies with all applicable state and federal laws. It is intended to prevent the infection and spread of COVID-19. The scope of the policy applies to all, underlined all, nursing home employees, including but not limited to full-time, temporary, contracted, per diem, on-call, and part-time employees. The policy also applies to vendor and other county employees whose duties in whole or in part requires that they work inside the nursing home. The exemptions for religious and medical reasons are mentioned, but ultimately anyone who wants to try to get a medical or religious exemption, if they do not get the vaccine within the time periods listed, according to the dictates of the federal government, they can no longer be employed as nursing staff. In essence, they can no longer be employed as nursing staff, direct nursing staff at our nursing home. And that does create some problems. So this mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy was approved on a 2-to-1 vote by the Grafton County Commissioners. The state of New Hampshire, through the Attorney General's office, has joined a couple of lawsuits where they are contesting these federal mandates for mandatory vaccine in the private sector and in the governmental sector. One of the lawsuits was filed back around the 4th or 5th of November, and that was asking to overturn the OSHA, the Occupation Safety Health Administration, mandatory vaccine mandates. And so so New Hampshire has joined with the states of Missouri, Arizona, Nebraska, Montana, Arkansas, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Alaska, and Wyoming to get an injunction about those things from becoming in place. And then I think on the 9th of November, Tuesday of this week, the state attorney general also joined a lawsuit with, I think, 7 other states to overturn the Center. It's a Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services. That's what was the basis of the policy that the commissioners approved on Monday. So there are 2 lawsuits now that the state of New Hampshire is joining to basically stop the implementation of the 2 federal regulations dealing with mandatory vaccine in the public sector and in the private sector for businesses and employers of over 100 employees. So there's a lot of things that are affecting what's going on in county government. I want to at least keep you posted. If you have any questions of me or any concerns, my phone number, the only phone that I don't have a cell phone because we don't have cell phone service out in Wentworth. My phone number is 603-764-6024. My email is omer.ahern.jr@gmail.com. I want to thank PBTV for allowing me this opportunity to share this information with you. I hope all of you out there are safe in all of this, what I consider craziness going on around us in our republic. And I hope that you all stay safe. And God bless America, and God bless the great Granite State of New Hampshire. Thank you. Take care.